Hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's are very common diseases that are getting more and more diagnosed every single day. It is definitely more common in women than it is in men. However, we're starting to see it pop up more and more with younger people. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about this if you're too young to be diagnosed with hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's. But if you could do me a very big favor, if you could go ahead and subscribe to my channel and then hit that bell so you get a notification every time I release a new video every single week. So I wanted to share some statistics with you that nearly 5 out of 100 Americans, and this we're just talking about Americans from the studies that I read, 5 out of 100 Americans ages 12 years and older have hypothyroidism. So you can see that it doesn't necessarily matter on the age. Now, is it more common in older women? Where we're in our 20s and 30s and 40s, yes, it is definitely more common there. But we're starting to see it more and more in younger people. I think some of this is because we're which is good, getting more and more testing out there. And when these younger women are starting to have symptoms, we are getting thyroid panels done. I know when I got first diagnosed, I was diagnosed when I was 22. The very first thyroid panel I ever had, I was 21 years old. I had thyroid symptoms at a very young age. When I was a teenager, I was probably 12 or 13 when I first started with symptoms, but doctors were not running thyroid panels back then. It wasn't a common thing. It wasn't really thought of that I had anything to do with some of the symptoms that I had going on. So we really weren't tested back then for it. So I feel like there probably are some more younger women getting diagnosed with it simply because we are getting tested at a younger age. But with that being said, one of the other reasons why I feel like we also are starting to see it more and more as well is you can have thyroid disease, particularly Hashimoto's, which is the autoimmune side of thyroid disease, where your own body is attacking your thyroid. It thinks it's a foreign invader. That can linger for a very, very long time. That can almost stay lay dormant, where you're not really necessarily getting a ton of symptoms from it, but it can be there for a pretty long time before you even notice it. And part of the reason is that kind of disease almost happens in stages. It does first start, and a lot of people don't have symptoms right away. And then the other factor is that we're starting to see more and more getting tested for it. Again, you have to do a full thyroid panel in order to see it, so you have to check your thyroid antibodies. And because we're starting to see that more and more getting tested, we are starting to see younger diagnosis of Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism. But like I mentioned, it comes in stages. And so you may not necessarily have a lot of symptoms yet, but you could have Hashimoto's and you just don't know it because, again, they're not testing for it. So my recommendation always is if there's any sort of symptoms going on that feel like it's hormonal, weight gain, trouble tolerating cold, fatigue, menstrual periods are getting irregular, you're having fertility issues, depression, slowed heart rate, even like joint and muscle pain, things like that. Those are all really big red flags that the thyroid might be involved, and there might need to be more investigating with it. So I would definitely get a full thyroid panel so you can see. And like I mentioned, you're starting to see it more and more in these young females. And part of it is because we're exposed to more toxins these days than we were years ago. More younger women are getting put on birth control at a very young age. I'm hearing girls that are 10 and 11 getting put on birth control. That can definitely contribute. So there's a lot of things that are way different now than they were even 20 years ago, like when I was going through my stuff and getting diagnosed. So that's why I feel like we are going to start seeing more and more cases where women are younger getting this. And again, be sure that you're doing a full thyroid panel. And I do have a guide on this, by the way. So if you're curious, like, what does a full thyroid panel even look like? What do I need checked? What are the reference ranges? I will drop a link below. That's called The Secret to Reading Your Thyroid Blood Test. And it goes over all of that in great detail. You can print it off. You can take it to your doctor. This is what you want to have checked because it is such an important piece to look at, so you can see, like, is it maybe my thyroid connected to it? And just keep in mind that you might have a normal thyroid panel and still have symptoms. So that's when I would do more investigating, because those symptoms are there for a reason. They're not normal. They're common, but they're not normal. So I would just do a little bit more investigating. So if you have any more questions with this, let me know. I would also love to know, as me. I was diagnosed when I was 22, which is a very young age to still be diagnosed. But if you were diagnosed at a young age as well, comment below, let me know your experience with it. And then, like I said, I have the link below for the secret to reading your thyroid blood test, and reach out if you have any more questions or need anything else. I will see you in the next video. Bye.